Hello and welcome to Fire in the Belly. Today we have myself, Mighty Pete, and we're joined by the Scott Schilling. Good afternoon. Good morning to you, I should say, even.
Well, good day to you. How's that?
Yeah,
We'll
yeah. Let's
kind
go
of
for a
hit it
good
in
day.
the.
That covers all the time zones. I love it. So tell us, Scott, who are you? What are you doing? Where are you from?
Well, I'm in Dallas, Texas. The middle of the country in the U.S. I am a executive coach, an international trainer, and speaker, and more importantly, just a guy that is using the talents and difference on the planet.
What are your talents then?
For whatever reason, I have the ability to stand in front of a group of people, whether that is live. I've been fortunate enough to do 2,500 live events around the world. Whether it's standing in front of people, whether it is through TV shows, Zoom, infomercials, whatever that case is, and deliver a message for their consideration. The reality is, I had a desire way back when to do what I could do to serve other people. I had some great modeling from my parents, and so I have the ability to stand in front of one or 50,000 and deliver a message that I believe in, that I am convicted in, and that I believe will be of service to a number of people in that audience. So again, even something like we're doing here today is a blessing to be able to hopefully provide a nugget or two. I talk many times about having high intention, low attachment, high intention of imparting something great for each and every one of you today, and a low attachment as to what that is, either for you or for me. Uh, Again, I want to throw out a bunch of nuggets that somebody says, wow, that's going to make a difference in my life.
It's a great place to be, right? That you can actually I mean, is that sort of almost give and take with the universe? Is it that stage where you're at the giving stage?
Yeah, well, absolutely. I mean, I think we've all been put on the planet to serve one another. My platform is really to return respect, honor, and dignity to the planet. Why? Well, because we've got free will, and we've done a pretty massive job collectively of jacking it up. Free will. The one thing about it is it's free, but at the same time, it should be free, in my opinion. It should be free with consideration to others as well, not just for ourselves.
So tell me, out of interest, I mean, what does fire in the belly mean to you?
Well, again, I think it's that I talk about. People say, "Are you a motivational speaker?" And I say, "Absolutely not. I'm an inspirational speaker." And there's a difference. Motivation is an outside in activity. Motivation only lasts as long as the motivator is available to you. Something from the outside that's coming to you to um, actually cause a reaction within you. Inspiration is an inside out activity. It is what drives you when nothing else is there. In other words, why do you want to do what you want to do? Well, personally, I've been granted talents and capabilities other people haven't been granted. Now they have talents and capabilities I haven't been granted. So let's think this through. If there's 100% talent and activity, available, I have a part of it. You have a part of it. You and I coming together now can serve far more people than either one of us individually. And so fire in the belly really is having a desire to be of service to one another. And as you serve others, you also serve yourself. Obviously, I come out of the Ziegler camp here in Dallas. You can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want. So that's a positioning statement. How do I help other people accomplish what they want to accomplish in life?
It's, I mean, do you find that rewarding? Is that your place of um, greatest gift or greatest power? Is actually when you are providing and you're speaking to others? Is that your power play?
Well, it's always nice to put out um, a good message and things like that. But the real power comes after the fact when people come up to you and say, you just gave me the courage to do XYZ. I never would have done this without hearing what you just said. Or I just realized I'm not the only one who's been through what I've been through. Thank you so much for sharing your challenges. And so by doing that, you've given me the courage to go past my challenges. That's where the real reward comes. And the reality is, Jim Rohn said it many years ago, you don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you add to the hour. And so when you can add value to other people, it's amazing what can happen.
Oh, it does. It sort of makes so much sense there that, I mean, is that what comes through maturity, wisdom, experience? Is it that, it's learning?
Yeah, I think so. The reality is we all go through challenges in our lives. Nobody steps through this thing without a ding here or there. Nobody lives their life without it. And, I think as you become more mature, that's code word for older. As you go through this, what you start to recognize is how you can take that information and, in fact, not only serve yourself with it, but then serve other people with it. And I think that that's again where the fire in the belly comes from.
Mm. Take us back a bit, Scott. I mean, talk to us about Mini Scott. What were you like as a young fella?
Well, I was never mini. I might have been younger, but I was never small. Um, I was very fortunate as I grew up. I played 5 sports. I think I learned, the team ethic at that point. You know, um, Being there as a teammate to other people, and a team is only as good as its weakest link, right? So being able to go do that, I was very blessed to do that. Then I was able to play uh, Big Ten football, major college football here in the United States. And I played for one of the legendary coaches, if not the legendary coach of all time, Coach Hayden Fry. And he espoused teamwork and that each part was very important, but it was only a part of the total. And so, I think that there was that background going through. Went into corporate America because my dad worked for the same company for 46 years. Well, that's what my dad did. So, isn't that what I'm supposed to do? And so I did that for 13 years, 13 and a half. And corporate America changed. The world changed that in those days too. Um, and so there was a recognition that I had grown some talent and some skills that I could serve people elsewhere. So I went out consulting and got absorbed by a company, became their executive vice president. We grew that, we pioneered that very successfully. Went back out again on my own, got absorbed again, back out again, absorbed again. And then I finally, about 18 years ago, um, made the decision that I could serve more people by becoming a coach and a speaker and a trainer out on my own. And it's funny, every time I've gone out on my own, I've got absorbed by somebody because I've helped them share their messaging. And, um, it's why you see the brand Scott Schilling Speaks. What 2021 is really about me sharing my messages, not for the ego me, but for the sharing the breadth of the messaging further. And as I said, I've done 2,500 live events. So the beauty of that is I've shared the stage with every name you know. You may or may not know my name, but you know people that I know. Well, Scott Schilling Speaks is my version of your show to share their wisdom with more people as well.
Do you think, I mean, talk to me about ego. Is that something how's it evolved over time?
Well, yeah, again, I think ego comes from a number of different things. A certain amount of ego is okay,
Hmm.
but if you are totally led by ego, this is my opinion. Other people love it the way it is, but I think a certain amount of ego is fine. Recognizing that you've been granted talents and capabilities is wonderful. We should all be grateful for that. But I think when you rely totally on ego, it is a person putting themselves up and above and over other people. And the last time I checked, you and I were both created equally, and you've been given a certain set of things that you've been put here to accomplish. I've been given a set of things that I've been here to accomplish. My things are no more important than your things. Your things are no more important than my things in the total construct of everybody being here on the planet.
I mean, it's a great way of looking at it. It changes through time and through maturity and all the rest. But tell me, what did Scott want to be when he grew up? What was the original plan way back?
Well, I thought I was going to play professional football. And what I realized as I came through the highest level that I played at is that it really stopped being a game and started being a business.
Hmm.
And it was a business that you can only last so long in. And so I chose to, if I was going to be in business, then go into business and just change a business so that it wasn't as physical. It was more um, mental and spiritual and the rest of it all involved in one.
Yeah, it's always, as you said, it's a physical game and things change, right? It's getting involved. Did you play football all through senior school and then into college?
Yeah, all the way through even 4.5 years um, into college. I all my college career, I completely severed my Achilles tendon while I was playing football, and I was told I'd never walk right again. I'd never play sports again. I'd never play football again. And I was actually on the field again in 75 days. Now, I'm not going to say that I was at full strength by any stretch of the imagination,
Hmm.
but um, I was so upset with myself that it happened that I came back and played again. And all the people who said, you'll never walk right again, you'll never play again. Well, I won 10 racquetball championships after that. I played football again. I even had professional tryouts, but I decided, it's time to move on with my life. This was a great season in my life. Now time to go on to business and serve more people.
Hmm. What were you like as a young fella? I mean, you were sort of big into sports? Were you running into school or running out of school in general?
Um, I was a I was a I will say good student. I don't know. It's one of the lessons I learned. I don't know that I understood the value at that time
Hmm.
as much as I did later on. Um, so I was a solid student. I mean, I wasn't the top and I wasn't the bottom. I mean, I used it to give myself the springboard to move on. And then I think the reality is you as you become more mature, you learn the importance of knowledge and skill set and things like that. Mentors, people who've been there before you, who have cleared the path,
Hmm.
and that you can model what they've accomplished and take your own twist. I mean, I've written checks to 19 mentors over my time. I've picked the best of the best in each area because I wanted the knowledge that they had. And my statement to them was, give me everything you got and I won't keep it. I'll share it with my students. And so, if I wanted to learn success, I got with Jack Canfield, who I believe to be America's success coach. I mean, the best of the best. If I wanted to become a professional speaker, I got with John Childers, who I believed was the best speaking trainer that there was, and so on and so on. So if there was an area in life that I wanted to improve in, I sought out who I believed to be the best in that category and learn from them so that I could, in fact, be well-rounded, but then I could serve more people. Not suggesting that I'm the expert in every category, but at least I have the knowledge to audit the so-called experts in the category, if that makes sense.
Is that your learning style? Do you like to be immersed or to be, hearing it? Is that your go-to?
I'm really a visual guy, and so I love to see people in action demonstrating the skill or the talent. 85% of people are actually visual learners. Many don't realize that, and so they don't tend to follow that path. But for me, it was one of the things I learned, and I learned how I learned. And so, although I use all modalities to learn, visual is probably the top one for me. If I could see a speaker, as an example, one day somebody said to me, "God, you're really good at delivering a message, but you're so plastic." And I was like, I don't think that's a compliment. And they said, "You're so proficient with the words and the movements and the stuff, but we can't feel you." And that really bothered me because it's certainly not the way I wanted to be. So I found somebody that I believe connects with audiences better than anybody else. And I watched what he did to do that. And I learned the various things that he did. I heard what he said, I saw what he did, and all of a sudden I was able to put that into action. And the comments came back, "Oh my God, I could feel what you said from stage, and it hit my heart." That's the difference. Is I only want to deliver the messages that people need to hear, not for me, for them. And so again, I took the various modalities to learn something that I needed to know to become better going forward. We do the best we can with what we know at the time. And we can always do better because we can always learn more.
Yeah, it's out of interest. I mean, you're with your parents. Do you take after either one of them in particular, or?
Well, my dad spoke for a charity for like 37 years without ever getting paid. And I could never really understand why he did that until I thought about it later on. And then my mom, when my daughter graduated high school, my mom was 85. And she showed up for my daughter's graduation and had a new gold watch. And I said, "Mom, what's with the bling? That's not like you to have a gold watch." And she said, "It was a gift from Florida hospitals for 25 years of volunteering." I said, "You started when you were 60? And she said, "Doesn't everyone?" And so I saw their volunteerism. I saw their desire to serve other people. I didn't really recognize it at the time. But again, as I became more mature, as I became older, I said, "Man, I want to emulate that wherever I can." And so it made a huge impact on me.
It's amazing as you say, it's almost, would they have been your earliest mentors in a way, or was it really through
Oh,
your
absolutely.
your coach?
Well, excuse me. I think it was, I'm just trying to think through that question. I think it was a combination of both. I had I had great respect for my parents and what they were able to accomplish, and I had great respect for my coaches and what they did with our teams. And I think I was very fortunate to have a lot of different people to learn from, and I think that that makes a huge difference.
Hmm.
You know, I had choice.
I mean, that is quite a privilege in itself, isn't it, really, to have choice?
Very much so. And I don't want to say that you have to have that to learn. It can be that one single person that has more belief in you than you have in yourself until you have it in yourself.
Hmm.
So it only takes one. It's actually a statement. I think it's going to be a rallying cry that I share a lot in 2021. It only takes one. It only takes one opportunity. It only takes one mentor. It only takes one situation. It only takes one realization to make a difference in your life and to want to move forward in a way. It only takes one thing to give you that fire in your belly, right?
Absolutely. And that's the, you talk about choice, but I suppose even more so you talk about change, and a change, life can change in a blink of an eye. It doesn't have to be a long-term thing. It can change. It can be small.
I got, it only takes one email to change your world. I got an email this morning that a friend found out over the weekend they have lung cancer. And it's the same lung cancer that took her mother in 3 weeks from her diagnosis. Think of that. Your mother was taken with the same ailment you were just diagnosed with, and your mother only lasted 3 weeks from her initial diagnosis. You think there's some fear involved, some shock, some everything in life just changed? COVID, who cares? Right? I mean, who cares what's going on elsewhere? Now, again, I'm not saying that flippantly, but I'm just saying for that person this morning, their life changed. And because I found out, my life changed.
It is. It's contrast. It's perspective. It's all those things together, really, isn't it? This is the biggest thing in the world until that happens, and then that's the biggest thing in the world until this happens.
And that's I think it. And that's why I think if we can all return respect, honor, and dignity to each other, you know, we've been through it all. At some point, there's somebody on the planet who's been through it all.
Hmm.
And if we can learn through it, that means that we can be through it, go through it all. And I would just encourage the spirit of childlike wonder, of getting back and being inquisitive and being back and going, you know what? The world's okay. It doesn't mean that everything's okay, but we're living at a time where just think of how much good we can do. Yeah, there's a bunch of crud going on. I get it. And the stuff that you're facing in your country is different than what we're facing in our country. But as a world and as world travelers together, we're going through it together. And so if you believe in the butterfly effect and the fact that a butterfly can flap its wings across the world and it can be felt and cause change halfway around the world or completely around the world, that means everything you do affects me and everything I do affects you. Well, if we know that, shouldn't we do some better things? Shouldn't we, be nicer and kinder and gentler to each other? Shouldn't we be nicer and kinder and gentler to ourselves? Shouldn't we, if the internet doesn't work exactly the way it did yesterday, shouldn't we be understanding and just say, okay, I'm good, as opposed to being all upset? Why live in upset? Why not live in good?
It's a great reflection. It's a great way to be, because life's just a lot smoother
Exactly. I mean, life is about choice. You know, we can choose to get upset. We can choose to be happy. We can choose to get mad. We can choose to be silly. We can choose whatever we want to choose. You know, I'm honored to have the opportunity to speak with you and speak with your audience with simply the recommendation of a mutual friend. I'm honored that my friend would recommend me to you. I'm honored that the friend would recommend you to me. If there's some technical issues, who am I to get all uppity about some technical issues? You didn't cause them. You don't want them. Why not be understanding and just say, let's look at the bigger picture here. Together, we've got an opportunity to share some messages with people that will truly positively impact their lives. Now, people could take this message and somehow turn it into a negative experience. That's their choice. I don't agree with it, but I'm not living their life. They are. My choice is to do everything I can to share from a place of authenticity, from my heart, from learning what I've learned because I've been on the planet longer than some other people. What makes me an expert? What makes me an expert is I've lived what I've lived. But what makes you an expert? You've lived what you've lived. You are an expert. I am an expert. 7.5 billion people on this planet are all experts because they have lived something different than we have. And if you look at it that way, your life's a whole lot better, I think.
It does make such a difference. You know, it's I suppose the way you approach things, it's you know, it's a big key. Out of curiosity, if you don't mind me asking, I mean, would you classify yourself as religious or spiritual, or where do you sit?
Yeah, absolutely. Uh, I've lived through a near-death experience, so I don't claim to be here on my own accord. I know for a fact that a higher power uh, has said, "You're not done yet. You've got other things to do. You've got you've got people that you can serve. You, quite frankly, need to serve yourself more." What I found out is sometimes we have a desire to serve the greater good and save the world, and what you find out is the world is pretty heavy, and one person does not the world save, but one person banding together with another and another and another now can save the world. And so I think we're at a time spiritually. I mean, I know all things work together for my good. I know they do. Now, I did not say all things were easy. I did not say all things are good. What I said is all things work together for my good. And so that means that the less than good things have been put as a possibility for me to learn so that I can positively impact my own life, but also the life of others.
Is that, I mean, would you describe yourself as having a calling or a purpose now? I mean, where do you sit?
Yeah, I've had a purpose my entire life. Now, whether I've recognized it and acted on it
Hmm.
is a different story. I think I've been pretty good for a long time. Um, you know, I think that I've always felt called or that I had a larger purpose. But I think what you start to realize is time is short. I just said I got a text this morning that a friend has lung cancer, the same type that took her mother in 3 weeks from the original diagnosis. If you had 3 weeks to live, what would you do differently? I mean, all of a sudden I had a new realization this morning, and I made a call to somebody immediately, and I said, I need to get more messages out. We need to get on that now. That was one of my responses to that. So everybody's got a purpose. Everybody's here to interact and intertwine with everybody else. The question is, have they recognized their purpose, and are they acting on it consistently? We've all been put here with a purpose. There are no accidents. What's going on in the world right now is not an accident. I believe God, higher power, higher source, has put everybody in a timeout and said, you need to get your stuff together. You guys are really trashing my world. Now you've got free will. So a lot of the stuff you're doing is because of that. But at the same time, do you think you could do and make some better choices? I mean, I think each and every one of us could say we could make better choices on a daily basis.
I'm curious with that, you're saying with that news really you received, and that's triggered action. What is it about it that actually triggers it? Why, is it sort of efficiency of time? Is it realignment of values, or what does the news of one have an impact? How does it change things for yourself?
I think that's it's an excellent question. I think the reality is that we're all far more fragile than we tend to think. But we're all far more powerful than we think too. And I think that it becomes, where are you in life? At one time in my career, I knew it all. I could do it all. I was it until you weren't. And unfortunately, sometimes it takes a major incident to slap you across the forehead and go, come on, chucklehead. You're not, you're not bulletproof, and you're not immune to things. So if you truly want to live out your purpose and you want to do the things you want to do, you might want to examine a few things and take some different actions. See, people think that we're only given a couple immediate emotions when we hear something, and that's fight or flight. Fight, put up your dukes, I'm going to take you on. Or flight, I'm going to get the heck out of here, I'm running like crazy. But we've actually been given three actions: fight, flight, and freeze. And freeze is actually the most devastating, because freeze basically says, I'm going to stay put. I'm not going to do anything. I'm not going to take any actions. And without action, there's no ability to gain feedback. Now, most of the time when we take actions, it's actually the wrong action. But the only way to know that it's the wrong action is to take an action. And then we get the feedback, and then we can correct the action. I think the reality is, I've learned that freeze is the most hazardous of the three. And so personally, I've made the decision I'm going to be a massive action taker, even if the action is incorrect at the moment. There's never a time where I purposely take an incorrect action. Now, does that mean I don't take incorrect actions? Oh, no, I take a lot of them. But I don't think they're the wrong one at the time. I don't do that. But I learn that they're incorrect after I've taken them, and then I correct. And I think that's, again, where we are in the world right now. I think there's been a lot of incorrect actions taken. The question is, are people looking at the feedback to take better actions going forward. That's how you make positive change.
It is. It's that alignment, isn't it? Really. To I mean, are you good at assessing yourself, or does it take an outside source to do that for you?
I think I'm okay at assessing myself.
Hmm.
I think at any um, anybody who strives to be their best will have a coach or a mentor or somebody that can look from the outside and see the blind spots that you don't see yourself. And while I may be okay at it, I respect and I honor friends who call me on things. I had a friend on Friday, I think. She said, gosh, you're so good at so many things. And I really respect you for that. But this is one thing I think you really have a blind spot at. And I said, isn't it amazing? Somebody else has said the same thing, and I agree with you. And I am now in the process of taking actions to improve that area of my life. And I appreciate you sharing that with me. I think we have to become unoffendable. I think we've created this world of being offended by everything. Oh my God, you have hair. I'm offended. Oh my God, you don't have hair. I'm offended. Oh, you've got, money. I'm offended. Oh, you don't have money. I'm offended. It's like, get over it. Let's learn to be unoffendable. Let's learn to try to understand each other. And more importantly than understand, because many times we can't understand, let's learn to appreciate others and their situation. We can always appreciate from our position somebody else's position. 100% of the time, we can appreciate because there's a natural comparison. We cannot always understand because we have not walked a mile in their shoes. We have not lived through what they have lived through. We have not experienced what they've experienced. That's where understanding would come in. But because we haven't done that, it's not really truthful to say, I understand, because you really can't. But you can always appreciate what they've been through. I can appreciate what it's like to live somewhere else. I can appreciate your stance on this because you have earned the right to believe what you believe because of what you've experienced. Just the same way that I have deserved and earned the right to believe what I believe because of my experiences. If we would take down the dukes, put your hands down and say, I would love to learn more about you so that I can appreciate your experiences. And I would hope that you would do the same with me. Just think of what we could do. Whew, there was a message right there. Man, I just got a zap from above. That was a message that was supposed to be shared here today. Whew. Sorry.
It's great. I mean, it's that side. I mean, is there any gap between who you truly are and your true self and who you are? Is there a gap, or is it one and the same?
I think it would be arrogant to say there's not a gap. I think we have a picture and a desire of who we want to be. And I think most people strive to. At the same time, I think virtually anybody can look from the outside and say, dude, I know you think you're XYZ, but you are ABC. I think it would be arrogant to say that we don't have gaps. But again, I think people would say, gosh, what do we have to look forward to if we don't have gaps? What do we have to improve into? I mean, I think this is I think you're doing a phenomenal job of asking the right questions to get the right answers here today for so many people, me included. I think this is really a thought-provoking conversation we're having here, of what does it take coming into a new year, especially. People talk about their New Year's resolutions and all their stuff. Hell, you've already broken them. It's the fourth. Stop sitting there and going, oh yeah, I'm going to eat better. Yeah, right. As you take that next cookie, take your next scone, right? The fact is, this is fun. I'm having a great time here. Thank you.
No, thank you. Thank you for being present. Tell
It's-
me, what message do you really wish everyone could hear?
As much as it would be a message that I would share, I think what I really want everybody to hear out of this is what they need to hear, from this conversation. It's not necessarily what I need to present or you need to present. I think if we would all get into this spot where we would be more open to consider different points of view and different possibilities. We here in the United States right now we have got such a division, and people aren't, you're left or right. There is very little in the middle. And the reality is we are neither left nor right, we're in the middle. And we've got to come to more common ground, not only in the United States, but quite frankly, in the world. And that's what keeps everything from being more civil, I believe, is the willingness to not understand, to appreciate the other side. There are people in our country that are crying out, that are saying, I'm upset about what happened 400 years ago. I mean, that's 400 years ago. Yeah, if it happened yesterday, I understand. I mean, or I can appreciate that far greater than what happened 400 years ago, because there's been a lot of opportunity for choice in the last 400 years, right? I don't necessarily agree with what happened 400 years ago, but I didn't do it. You didn't do it. Why are we upset about it? Now, if something happened today or yesterday, okay, we're responding from our frame of reference. Well, either let's be upset about it or let's modify our frame of reference. Let's try to learn from each other. Let's try to gain. Position isn't the right thing. Opportunity, maybe. Let's try to gain appreciation and go from there. Maybe what I'm talking about is utopia and it doesn't exist. Maybe it does. Who knows? I'm going to commit the rest of my years on this planet to talking to people, to share messages to help people appreciate their position on this planet. Period. Not everybody has to believe it or agree with me, and I'm okay with that.
Do you think in general, do people get you?
Sometimes. Here's one thing that I learned a long time from one of my mentors. You never win 100% of your audience. The only thing you want to do is win most of them. Now, I'd love to win them all. I'd love to have people go, oh my goodness, this is the best interview in the history of ever. I would love that. I don't anticipate it happening. There'll be people that say, I don't like your haircut. There'll be people that say, I don't like your logo. There'll be people that say, I don't like what you're wearing today. There'll be people that say, where the heck is that statement coming from? That has no place being said. This goes back to high intention, low attachment again. I've got a high intention of sharing my truth and what I believe will make positive impacts on our planet, and a low attachment as to who grabs onto it, what happens after they grab onto it, whether they send me an email and say, Scott, that was awesome, whether they send me an email and say, you're a idiot. I know my heart and my desire is to share the best answers with you that I can to some great questions that you're asking. It's about all I can concern myself with, actually.
What's your biggest strength and your biggest weakness?
Well, my biggest strength is I'm a big softy and I come straight from my heart. And my biggest weakness is I'm a big softy and I come straight from my heart. And like many folks who are heart-centered, I've been taken advantage of. I have made some mistakes. I have pursued paths that have created challenge for me. That being said, I wouldn't be who I am today had I not made those mistakes, had I not had those challenges, had I not had those things. I wouldn't be trained up for a time like this if I had made different decisions. Making a mistake is not a problem. Making the same mistake over and over again is the problem. It means you didn't learn. I'm a very learned being at this point. I've made plenty of mistakes. So again, if my biggest attribute is my biggest weakness, I'll take it. I'm good with that. Again, I think if we would, this is intellectual tactical. This is strategic and heartfelt. If we would become more strategic and heartfelt, I think a whole lot of things in many people's existence would be much better. That is my belief. Not everybody has to believe what I believe, but that is what I believe.
Where does that emotion come from for you?
Great question. I have not asked myself that for 3 days now. I think I was blessed to have it as one of the attributes I was built with. There are different attributes that, again, I think being heart-centered or heartfelt is an attribute, and many people are graced with it, and many people are not. And just as it makes the world a better place that some are, it makes the world a better place that some aren't, because those folks are, people talk about how people are wired, right? There's 4 main personality types. And wouldn't it be a boring planet if we were all the exact same? I am, empathic. I am nurturing. I am fun loving. I'm a lot of different things. But then there are people who are far more fun loving than me. There are people who are far more strategic than me. There are far more knowledge based than me. But when you put us all together, man, what a great place. If we were all the exact same, I think it'd be kind of boring. How did I get to be the way I am? I think I was born that way. I think I was, I saw models of it and I liked how it felt. And I think I wanted to feel those same feelings. And I would suggest that many people who are maybe one of the other personality types or one of the other, philosophies were born the way they were born, learned what they learned, and have probably expanded their experience in that way too. I think when you can look at all 4 types and become a good mixture of all, I think that's when you become well-rounded and can be of such have such an amazing life, because you now can appreciate all aspects of life, not just the one that is your predominant feeling, if that makes sense.
It does. And I'm curious, your language changes slightly, and I can't quite pin it down. But if I explain my sort of thought process, when you talk about your eye, incredibly kinesthetic, incredibly empathic, empathic, a lot of empathy, a lot of feeling, a lot of touching, a lot of that side. Yet your learning style is very visual, very verbal on that side. So it's almost when conducting with outside, it's verbal and visual. When it's dealing with the I, myself, the you, that's when it switches to kinesthetic language. Does this make sense, or am I completely off a wrong track here?
No, I think it's a fabulous observation, actually, and I don't know that I've ever thought of it that way. But again, we're all 4 at some point in time. It's what triggers you to switch from one to another. There are times in my life where I'm the craziest. I mean, some crazy stories that you kind of, when people are telling them, you go, oh, geez, don't tell that. I know you've never had any of those. And then there are those that people say, man, Scott comes from his heart. Right. And so it's where the kind of, I think my nature is in the eye of the beholder sometimes. And I think it's a great observation. I think when we're talking about certain subjects, I probably drop way, way into my heart. And when we talk about other subjects, I'm still in my heart, but I get more thought-based, more knowledge-based, because I've seen my mentors share information in so many different ways, right? So I think that that's part of it. I think that you have to come through, and again, we're all 4. It's interesting that you've noticed what triggers me to go from one to a different one in our conversation here. But yeah, there are times, there are things that you can that you could say or make me think about, that I get all gooey and the emotion just flies, and there's not a darn thing I can do to stop it. And it's not, some people go, well, that's manufactured. No, it's not. It just hits me. And I think part of it was a number of my mentors going, you know what, it's one of your greatest attributes. And so I don't even attempt to slow it down or stop it. It just is what it is. But again, see, it's funny because from a knowledge base or side, it comes back to that high intention, low attachment. My intention in our conversation here is to answer your questions the best way I possibly can from the way I feel, not the way I think. And so I'm working to answer these questions the very best feeling way I can, not this, well, let me give you the study that shows that I should answer, blah, blah, blah. That's not my, it's not how I train people. It's not how, there are people that go, will you train me? Absolutely. Well, don't you want to give me more homework and more this? No, I want you to feel more things. I want you to communicate with more people. I want you to do those things. Why? Because I feel that's the way you'll learn more, by feeling it. Right? It's not about the written word. It's not about the formulas and all that. Although I share many formulas in my training, which are the things. But what I tend to do is I tend to share the formula and then take it back to a heart space and how it makes a difference. And again, my style is not for everyone, and that's okay. For those it's for, awesome. Let's make a huge difference together, right? I mean, it's like podcast. It's like shows like this. Each one is different, right? I just had a light bulb go out. Each one is different. I had, you said, we're going to talk as long as we talk, and whatever that is, it is. And awesome. I love that idea, right? Because wherever it goes, it goes. Now, I did a podcast not too long ago where the guy said, okay, you got 6 questions. This normally takes 6.5 to 8 minutes. And if it's longer than 8 minutes, we're done. Okay. Now, I still did it, but are you doing it? Are you having a show to have a show at that point? Or are you having a show to disseminate information and thoughts that people could grab onto? Again, not his show. I'm honored to be on it. If I get 8 minutes, I get 8 minutes. If that's why when you said, how long do you have? I said, 20 years. It is what it is.
That for me has actually highlighted as well. It's how often do we get listened to?
Depends on, is it our spouse or is it the public?
Generally,
Kidding.
My wife doesn't listen, so we're okay.
Mine either. So no, there's the old adage, right? When the student is ready, the teacher appears. And, there are a lot of great quotes and there are a lot of great, but that's one of the best of the best. And I don't even know who to attribute that to. But it truly is. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. When it is time for somebody to impart some wisdom and present a potential answer to a question of yours, you'll only listen to it when you're ready to hear it. How many times have somebody said to you, how many times I've said this to you, Pete? I mean, my God, why did it take 267 times for you to finally respond to this? Right? Or, man, this is the first time I've ever talked about this with you, and man, you latched onto it immediately. When the student's ready, the teacher appears. When the time is right, the time is right. See, I think that's a lot of what's going on in the world right now. I think it almost has to get bad enough, large enough for everybody for a critical mass, as Malcolm Gladwell would say, the tipping point, about 16 or 17% of the planet, to go, this is rubbish. I'm done with this. We need to make this better, right? And I think that was Gladwell's whole point in Tipping Point, is it takes a critical mass to make big things happen. Well, it takes a critical mass within you to make it happen too. You have to get to that point sometimes where you just go, I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired. And now it's time to do something different. And how would I do that? Well, I'd listen to this podcast, or I'd go read this book, or I'd go to this live event, or whatever the case might be.
I'm a big fan of Tipping Point and Malcolm Gladwell, and I'm curious there. I mean, and he talks about super connectors, and yourself would be what I would classify as a super connector. Would you accept that title?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, again, it comes back to the Ziegler quote: "You can have everything in life you want when you help enough other people get what they want." So that was my early influence. I read "See You at the Top" when I was 17 years old, and that statement forever changed my life. And it's that on top of, in reality, you needing what I do for a living the minute we meet, maybe 5%. You needing to know something I know, someone I know, is probably 95%. One of the concepts that I teach is become an asset to everyone you meet. ASSET is a 5-letter acronym for a spontaneous servant every time. Become a spontaneous servant every time, the rest takes care of itself. If you need to know somebody I know, why don't I introduce you? Right? It's going to help 3 people. It's going to help you. It's going to help them. It's going to help me. You're going to do business together or do whatever you do with somebody. But I'm going to be looked upon as somebody that has aided you in accomplishing your needs, wants, and desires. People like people who aid them in their needs, wants, and desires. And people do business with those they know, like, and trust. You know me. Now I've done something. Now you like me. Because you like me, you start to trust me. Now, I'm not saying we've got the greatest trust in the history of ever, but it's started. And in order for us to do things together, you have to have trust. So it's actually a stepping stone to trust. Me doing something in advance for you is actually trust. This is actually one of the things I believe is one of the issues on our planet today, is people aren't willing to invest in advance without a string attached, without a linear what's in it for me right out of the blocks. Now, some of us more mature, again, code word for older folks, this is the way we've always done it. We've always done things in advance of, again, it's the high intention, low attachment. I'll introduce you to somebody that you need to know and that I know. And if something comes from that, awesome. And if it doesn't, awesome. If I do enough of that, someday it'll be returned to me. And I have to trust that.
Are you where you're supposed to be?
Meaning?
At this point in your life?
Yeah, I believe so. I believe, I think it goes back to all things work together for my good. God's plan and timing is perfect. Um, why would I say I'm not where I'm supposed to be? Because that's just going to create discontent. You know, there's a pretty good manual that says that the real key is learning to be content. I am content with much. I am content with little. It is the learning to be content that it's of value. And so in one of my books, I talk about creating positive discontent. And what I mean by that is I am unapologetically content with where I am today. And even being grateful for where I am today and everything that I have, I know there is greater opportunity going forward. And I want to be more proactive in choosing that positive possibility. So, positive discontent. That came out of somebody actually saying to me, one of their life rules was never be satisfied. And I said, man, what a shame. What, you just did something so great and yet you're not satisfied. I said, be tremendously grateful and satisfied, but know that there's positive discontent in that you can do more and be more and have more. So again, it's a different classification. Am I where I'm supposed to be? Yeah, I must be because I'm here. Do I think that there are more and greater and bigger things ahead of me? No, I know there are more and bigger and greater things ahead of me. Not I think, I know there are. Now, do I know what they are? Heck no. I wish I did. I ask for guidance on that every day. And the answer I get is I'll give you 24 hours worth at a time. Go make today a great day. And you'll move towards a better tomorrow.
It's a beautiful way of looking at it.
It's not always an easy way, but I agree with you. It is a beautiful way of looking at it. The fact is that, why are you trying to become me, or why am I trying to become you? You're the best you on the planet. I'm the best me on the planet. Let's you and I go and make the planet better. Stop, aching. It's okay to ache for more. There's nothing wrong with wanting more. I think it's the sometimes the negative thoughts that come with that are more problematic than the other. Does that make sense?
It does. And it's funny as you said that, it sort of triggered me in terms of where does the line sit for you? Because people say, it's giver's gain, it's to be of service. But at what point do you make sure that saying, I'm also being focused and relentless on my own goals so I can give? How do you match both? Because you go too far and then, potentially regret steps in or whatever else
Well,
of the thing. You go the other way and you're saying, well, you're not giving enough. So how do you measure that?
Well, I have been an overgiver most of my career. And I have had people tell me that. And I haven't believed it at times, saying you can't overgive until it has caused situations to be not so fun and not so wonderful. And then I've had to go, dang, they were right. And so I think I've actually come through a big period of that. And I'm 2021 for me, I'm, announcing today, I'm going to do a live and announce coaching programs available with me. And I have done a lot of coaching without fee in the past. I can't accomplish the things I need to accomplish without the fees anymore. I mean, it just, that's a reality. And so, yeah, they're going to be fee attached, but it's all about value. Again, let's go back to Jim Rohn. You don't get paid for the hour. You get paid for the value you add to the hour. So it will be my commitment to add tremendous value to those who take me up on those coaching opportunities. Period. So that is a direct modification in me going to market in 2021. The reason is, with some of the things that we're doing, we're working to create a worldwide platform to connect people so that they can do better things. This is a world, gosh, or, isn't that wonderful? He's so busy. It's just the reality I am. And so therefore, certain things have to happen in that time because of the number of things that I'm involved in. But again, nothing wrong with that. It just is what it is. Now's my time. It's my time to leave a stamp on the planet. Mother Teresa said, if you can't feed 100, feed one. It's everybody's time to feed one or more. Just think if everybody was committed to doing that on a consistent basis. And it's okay to get paid to do that. It's not a bad thing. And so the reality is, I am a reformed overgiver. Doesn't mean I'm going to stop giving. It doesn't mean I'm going to stop connecting. Doesn't mean I'm going to do those things. It simply means I'm readjusting how I accomplish that goal. And we're just going to state it differently going forward, if that makes sense.
No, it does. It's always, how do you self-care then? Is that something you actively do? Do you, when you potentially you give too much and you have that sort of readjustment period, do you have to monitor self-care at all times?
Yeah, well, what I did or have to, for me personally, I need to get a coach, which I've done, who has said, we love what you're doing. We love your desire. We love all that. You are not going to be able to accomplish what you want to accomplish if other things are not addressed. Well, you finally have to get to the point of going, geez, you're right. Right? So this is one of those blind spots that I've had, and a way that I have to look at things differently. So again, it's finding a coach. Michael Jordan was an amazing basketball player. Some say the best ever. Well, then why did he have a coach? If he was the best ever, why did he have a coach? You look at anybody who's tremendously talented, they've had a coach, a mentor, right? And coaches are different than mentors, actually. They've had mentors, but they've had coaches that mentors are more give them the knowledge and the path, where coaches are, I think, more the accountability and okay, we're going to take it from here, the street level. The mentors are the 30,000 foot view many times, and the coaches are the street level and go do this. And so I think that's a big part of, everybody should have both mentors and coaches. And so what I did is I went and got a coach who is doing an amazing job of helping me understand me. And, we're twisting and tweaking and excited about what's coming from this point forward.
On that, I mean, are you motivated more by pain or by pleasure?
I would love to say fully pleasure. The reality is, unfortunately, pain.
Why, unfortunately?
Well, because I like pleasure more than pain. I mean, who doesn't like pleasure more than pain? But
I didn't say whether it was your pain or your pleasure or somebody else's.
well, I tend to coach towards pleasure. I tend to coach towards vision. Most people tend to respond to pain. Let's put it that way. It's got to become so painful for them to want to make that change. And it's unfortunate that it's that way. But statistically, I think the intellectual studies will show you that more people respond to pain than pleasure, even though I think it's kind of crazy. I love responding to pleasure.
It's a great way to be if you can. Yeah,
I don't want to be one of those statistics, darn
it. Was it 80-20 split, some say, or whatever?
I think it's probably bigger than that, actually.
Hmm.
It's, Pietro's principle works across everything. The 80, which that's Pietro's principle is the 80-20 rule, but it's also the 90-10. It's also the 95-5. And most people don't know the other two sides of that, right? So the reality is sometimes I think things need to get bad enough to create people to take action. And I think that's what's happening in our world. I think things have just gotten ridiculous in certain things, right? And because of that, now people are taking action. And there's a lot of really good people working to make things a whole lot better. And I really think we're at a time where there's been a lot of really talented entrepreneurs and kind of lone rangers or lone wolves that are going, you know what? It's time to create a wolf pack, right? It's time for the lone wolves to come together to create a really strong pack. It's exactly what we're doing with Be Connected is we want to create a place where the lone wolves can come to make a pack that is so strong that is there to make business better around the world, that everybody's coming together to accomplish that. And man, that's really exciting.
Talk to us about the platform. What's your objective?
Well, the platform is called Be Connected, BEEKONNECTED. And it's about exactly that. It's about being connected. How much have we talked about connections and being a super connector and all that? Well, the entrepreneur by definition is kind of that lone wolf, kind of that they march to a different drum, right? And yet they could accomplish more if they had a team behind them, had some people behind them, had a variety of different things coming together. Well, we have built an online platform that's already in 37 countries. We only launched September 1st. And the whole concept behind it is that at the touch of a button, our algorithms and our artificial intelligence actually find you 6 potential profiles of people who are your perfect customer, collaborator, connection. And at the touch of a button, you let software and artificial intelligence work for you to find you people who are of like mind, like heart, like spirit, that want to make a difference in the business world as well. Well, think about being able to do that as opposed to having to physically go to a meeting or dig through tons and tons of other information. Use technology to find people that are, in essence, what we did is we took the concept of dating software, matching a personal profile, and we tweaked it for business. And then so this is dating software for the business world. This is getting the right supplier to meet the right customer at the touch of a button. In less than a second, you get 6 people to choose from our community. If you don't like those 6, touch the button again. Another second, you get another 6 and another 6 and another 6. The point is, we're looking to connect like-minded, like-hearted, like-driven people to accomplish better goals in their business, save them time, energy, and money in doing so. And once we do that, my goodness, I was talking to some people in Houston, Texas, and they said, "Do you have any members in Australia?" I said, "Yeah, we do." And they said, "We've been trying to get a product into Australia for 2 years." I said, "I can't tell you that they are the right people for you, but what I can tell you is the members that we have in Australia are some of the most friendly, business-loving folks that I've met so far. And if they're not the right people, I bet you they help you find the right people." And that's exactly what happened. So they weren't necessarily the right people to do business with, but again, because of the intent of the platform, they said, "Gosh, I know somebody who they would love to learn about what you have." So again, that's what we're working to do, is we're working to bring the world together, the business world together, entrepreneurs, small business owners, home-based business owners, those who want to do good quality business and are tired of all the bombing they're getting from bots and everything else, and the insincere invitations, and the, "Gosh, now that I've known you for 6 seconds, we should do business together." It's not what it's about.
As you say, it's something there. I mean, it's a pandemic or a moment of change, whatever way you want to look at it. Let's just say with all the changes going on, this is probably it's an amazing time to be doing this, because people are isolated but yet crave connection too.
Well, that's why one of the things that I've said, or many things that I've said on either TV shows or podcasts through the pandemic, is I reject the word social distancing. Now, I'm all for physical distancing at the safe levels, but that's what it is. It's physically distant at safe levels. We need to be more socially close than ever. We need to be talking to each other. We need to be helping each other. People crave connection. They crave the opportunity to be with other people. So again, we've built that with our platform. We offer a top tier webinar platform within our platform. We do a variety of different things that now ups the capability of people socially connecting, yet physical distancing. So again, I think it's, now we started building it before the pandemic happened, but it's been a godsend to our community members. And that's what we just want to let everybody know, and come take a look. I mean, if it's right for you, it's right for you. If it's not right for you, it's not right for you. Now, that being said, we haven't found all that many people it's not right for.
It's quality of connection, right? That's the thing now. It's, as you say, being connected to X number of people is great, but are they being of service, genuine service? Is it a quality connection? And what would you rather be? Busy fool, or a busy entrepreneur actually getting work done, which is better?
Yeah, well, that's exactly it. It's, if I could save time, energy, and money and meet some absolutely amazing people. I mean, let's think it through. I'm in Dallas, Texas. You are not. And yet, because of Be Connected, we connected. And now I'm on a worldwide show, and I will share your show in the United States and throughout the world in return. And so both of us have been served through a meeting that took a second to create. That's pretty awesome if you think about it.
It's phenomenal for me. I'm still expecting somebody to turn up and saying, sort of get out of the seat. What are you doing? It's like this is a guilty pleasure for me to hear people's lessons and journeys and how they've got to where they are. I mean, it's the reverse iceberg and saying congratulations on being successful. You are where you are and well done. But it's that sort of what's holding all that up. That journey that's led to this place. I mean, looking back, what are some proud moments for you?
Oh, I think, being able to play Big Ten football when I was told I wasn't good enough. I went and played. Then once I got hurt and was told I'd never play again, I came back and played. I got two amazing kids that are just phenomenal. I want to grow up and be as good as my kids. 25 years of marriage to my lovely wife. Gosh, I've shared the stage with presidents of countries and some of the biggest names in the world. How did I get on that platform? I mean, my goodness. I've written 15 books now. We've started Be Connected. I've had my own TV. I have my own TV show. But I don't, I'm proud of all of those things, but none of, it's like I sit and if I can do it, anybody can do it. And people say, oh yeah, right. It's really true. I mean, if I can accomplish those things, you can accomplish those things. I'm no different than anybody else. I've had a desire to learn. I've had a desire to do what I've learned. One of my mentors said, I got to ask you a question. I've trained thousands and thousands of speakers, and yet you're the only one who's done 100% of what I told them to do. Why'd you do it? And I said, well, let me answer the question for you, but let me ask you a question before I do. I said, how many dollars in checks did I write you? And he gave me a number, and I said, yeah, that sounds about right. I said, how many of those checks did you cash? He said, every one of them. I said, you now know the answer. Why would I pay you to learn how to do this and then not do what you said? And he goes, you're the only person who ever has. He goes, that's brilliant. I said, no, that's common sense. I mean, I'm no different than anybody else. I just had a desire to do something, and I worked at doing it. Everybody is the most amazing them they can be. If you want to be more amazing, go do it. And if you want help in it, I'll help you. Or Pete will help you. Or Pat will help you. Or, there's a lot of help available. There are people sitting going, we would love to help you accomplish what you want to accomplish. Just have the courage to take the first step.
I love that. That's it is. It's helping people to get out of their own way. It's that, if you're going to turn up, don't just turn up and do the work.
That's exactly it. I mean, it's not all that hard. Does it take work? Yeah. But the rewards are amazing. My wife and I have taken some amazing trips. We've spent wonderful time together. My kids have both gone to school, came out with no debt. We've been able to accomplish some things that were really wonderful. And I don't say that to impress anybody, but to impress upon them that they can do it too. You just got to have some want to. If you got want to, we can help you with the rest. can't help you with want to. You know, you got to have that desire, that fire in the belly. If you don't have the fire in the belly, that's where your problem lies. Get the fire in your belly. If you want to be the best gardener in the world, you can do it. If somebody says, well, that's silly. Well, that's their opinion of you, and everybody's got an opinion. You don't have to accept it. But if that's what you want to do, go do it. But go learn from the best gardener in the world as of today. You know, I mean, I've been very blessed to have those mentors who were the best in their categories. They were also expensive. If you don't invest in you, why should anybody else invest in you? Invest in you. You're worth it.
This is building that desire, isn't it? That's, you know, be really sort of clear on your goal.
Yeah. What do you want to accomplish? Why do you want to accomplish it? I say to my students, when you got a big enough what and a strong enough why, the how shows up.
Mm.
When you got a big enough what you want to accomplish and strong enough why you want to accomplish it, the how to accomplish it will show up. People keep on asking, how do I do this? How do I do this? How do I do this? Wrong question. What do you want to do? Why do you want to do it? The how will show up, how to accomplish those things.
Makes a lot of sense.
Shouldn't be that easy.
That's the disempowering thing about it, isn't it?
Well, it's the empowering thing about it. It is that easy.
It's hidden in plain sight, and yet
Yeah.
we seek complexity for some reason. Tell me this, Scott. What's a guilty pleasure for you? You can take out the guilt if you wish.
You know, playing beautiful golf courses around the world, being on a catamaran in the British Virgin Islands, having coffee early in the morning, watching the sun come up as I'm standing on the deck of a catamaran, terrapins swimming underneath me, goats on an uninhabited island, buying in the, you know, saying good morning to each other in the distance, and just smelling salt air and going, this is living. You know, just, that's my happy place.
That's beautiful. I don't know why I'm wondering why the goats are saying good morning to each other, but it's like don't look at the woman in the red dress. It's like, why are the goats talking?
Well, they get to say good morning too.
No,
I don't
absolutely.
know.
What does leisure and pleasure look like for you then? Is it golf? It seems is one anyway.
Yeah, golf. I used to play a lot of racquetball. I don't anymore. I've got some body parts that have might need some replacing, just from a lot of sports over the years. You know, just I love music. Love going to concerts. You know, just my wife and I love to travel. We haven't done enough of that lately. Obviously, we had a year, of no traveling, and that is not fun. So, you know, really want to get back down. Would love to. You know, we live in Texas, and you can move around Texas pretty clearly, but there's some states you can't. And again, I'd love to go to the British Virgin Islands. Well, they're not allowing anybody in from any. We're just biding our time until we can do some of those things, and you know, just goofing off. You know, I mean, I'm kind of a goof actually. I just love to have fun. And, you know, it would be fun to be back on stage in front of 20, 25,000 people again, just for the fun that it is, because it is fun. Nobody can sit there and say that's not fun. It is fun. Well, they can say it, but for me, that's fun. So, looking forward to a great 2021, right?
Absolutely. So tell me, if you were to describe your fire in the belly in one or two words, what would that be?
Impact. You know, I'm driven by making an impact, a positive impact. I think part of it is I've had so many people invest in me over my life. You know, I want to pay it forward. You know, why not reach out to other people who need it, need that little bit of encouragement, that belief in them before they believe in themselves? That's probably the biggest player for me.
Do you feel on balance with the universe?
I feel like I'm getting far more balanced. I think I was way tipped. Too far out of balance. And so again, working with my coach and what's going on, I think, I know 2021 is going to be an amazing year and beyond, because I'm finding that balance. There was so much need that I tipped myself out of balance trying to serve the need, or working to serve the need. And now it's time to get back to that, a little bit more of that center point, and go from there.
I love it. So tell us, Scott, where can people reach out, learn more, hunt you down, track you down, stalk you, follow you?
I would love any questions or any comments. Scott@scottschilling.com. I don't find myself hard to email. You can go to scottschillingspeaks.com. That's my TV show. You can go to scottschillingonline.com. That's more of my speaking and training and coaching platform. Would love to interact with anybody and everybody, to see how we can move you forward and help you along the way. Of course, we're inside Be Connected, so would love you to do that. I think Pete can put up a link for Be Connected. Would love to have you as part of our community, because together we can accomplish anything worldwide. And I think we can make that tipping point happen. You know, again, don't make it hard to get a hold of me. So don't make yourself a stranger.
What's the final message you would like to leave with people?
You know, you're more powerful than you know. You're stronger than you think. You can accomplish more than you believe. And you can truly have whatever it is you want to design in your life. Have the courage. If you need a word of support, reach out. There are plenty of people that'll help you. And know together we can make the world exactly what we want it to make it. Might not happen in a minute, but boy, we can have some fun on the way. Would love to have some fun with all of you.
Scott, I thank you for being here. I thank you for your service. I thank you for your presence. And we look forward to more coming up. So thank you.
Appreciate the time today and look forward to reacting and interacting with your audience fully.
Thank you, Scott. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Look forward to working with you too. We're going to have lots of fun.
Lots of fun. Thank you.
Sounds great.